2 groundbreaking seasons on air, Soul Train was in a groove. It had built its own identity based on iconic elements like the Soul Train line and Sid McCoy's signature intro.
60 non-stop minutes across the tracks of your mind into the exciting world of soul.
Hey there, and welcome aboard. We'll definitely be dealing some good feeling your way for the next 60 minutes.
Don celebrated by commissioning a theme song fit for a hit TV show.
That first theme song called Hot Potatoes, it was real funky, but it was old, and I thought that we should have a new theme song.
Don called on his friends, Gamble and Huff, the genius producers behind the Philly sound of stars like Billy Paul and Teddy Pendergrass.
It started with Kenny Gamble singing something like, Soul Train, Soul Train, but he did it in key.
We knew it had to be something that people could dance to. We had to be able to do the Soul Train line on it.
That song, I mean, it just stays with you, and seeing that little train going around and dancing, the dancing train.
The track was so hot, Gamble and Huff wanted to release it immediately.
And I said, okay. I said, but I don't want you to call it Soul Train. I want you to call it something else, because I was very protective of the Soul Train trademark.
They retitled the song The Sound of Philadelphia, and it was an instant smash, selling over 1 million copies and hitting #1 on the Billboard chart in April 1974.
That was the dumbest move I ever made. It should have been named Soul Train, and it wasn't.
But outside the beautiful, groovy world of Soul Train, 70s America was in turmoil. The battle over school desegregation was raging.
Why should they come over here and wreck the city? Why should they take over that school?
And black soldiers were returning from Vietnam only to find inner-city poverty on the rise and few, if any, job opportunities.
I am somebody.
Against that backdrop, Soul Train became much more than just a Saturday morning diversion.
I think Soul Train had a way of bonding the community. That was one time that you knew that all of black America was at home watching TV when Soul Train was on.
Young black political leaders also knew America was watching.
Jesse, welcome.
Good to be here, Brother Don.
We were all trying to say something, do something, tell some story, and there was no greater platform for young America than Soul Train.
We were always brought up talking about we needed the 3 R's, reading and writing and arithmetic. But now we're moving into another era where we need the 3 E's, ethnic, being ethical, and being excellent.
Don realized the power of his reach and found creative ways to incorporate black pride into the show's weekly segments.
Okay, we'd like you to meet 2 members of our Soul Train gang.
Renee White.
Hi, Renee.
Darnell Williams.
Darnell, you're both, I'm sure, familiar with the Soul Train Scramble Board, right?
The Scramble Board challenged contestants to spell the names of legendary black icons.
There were political figures like Julian Bond and Phyllis Wheatley and Harriet Tubman.
I always thought that was fixed, though, because you could never find one episode where a couple didn't figure it out.
Actually, the board was fixed. Sort of.
It was impossible not to win on the Scramble Board, which is a little-known fact, because we were into projecting positive images of black people, and so we couldn't have them stand there misspelling Stevie Wonder's name.
The positive images didn't stop there. Don's revolutionary sponsorship deal with black-owned Johnson products finally gave Soul Train viewers TV ads they could actually relate to.
I'd like to ask you specifically why you felt it was important to sponsor a show like Soul Train.
I think Soul Train is the right show for our company because it reaches our market directly.
Hey, now, mama.
Some of the early commercials were just awe-inspiring to our audience and a definite first.
Tally-ho!
You just did not see commercials that were directed toward African Americans back in the 1970s.
Here it comes. And me with the most untogether natural in town.
They were speaking to me.
But you need this Afro Sheen hairspray to give your hair sparkle.
That smells nice, too.
The voiceover sounded like an African-American voice.
When fox hunting, be sure you're ready with Afro Sheen.
It was amazing. These products were just reinforcing the idea that black is beautiful.
Makita, serene, majestic, beautiful Queen of Sheba. And now, out of the mist of 3,000 years, emerges today's beautiful black queen. Naturally beautiful, radiant. She is black essence.
There was a real sense that the Afro was a radical statement, particularly for women. Women still wore straightened processed hair most of the time. So for a woman to have a natural, whether it was short or long, was a remarkable political statement about acceptance, about black beauty.
Probably the best Afro Sheen commercial I've ever seen. It has to be seen to be believed.
Haven't you forgotten something?
Say who were... Hey, aren't you Frederick Douglass? Yeah, we studied about you in school yesterday. About how you were a slave and how you took your own freedom. And then began to fight for freedom and dignity for all our people. Say, but what did I forget?
Are you gonna go out into the world with your hair looking like that?
The ghost of Frederick Douglass basically tells him his fro's not tight.
That's a mess. I've been watching the progress of our people, and I'm quite familiar with the natural. And I'm also aware that it is worn as an outward expression of pride and dignity.
Believe it or not, I still use Afro Sheen. Frederick Douglass only has to tell me once.
Soul Train was also breaking new ground behind the scenes.
You'd go to Soul Train and you'd see black people on the floor, PAs, and black floor managers and black directors. You didn't see that anywhere else.
I remember my first meeting with James Brown. He was from an era where you couldn't do anything big unless you had somebody, probably somebody white, backing you. He was so impressed as he looked around the studio. He said, "Brother, who's backing you on this?" And I said, "Well, James, it's just me." And then he passed by me again and say, "Brother, who you with on this?" I wanted to say, "You just asked me that," but out of respect, I would say, "James, it's just me." And then came to me and he said, "Brother, who's really behind this?" And I said, "James, it's just me."
By the end of its watershed third season, Soul Train had matured from a wild experiment to a thriving business, making Don one of the most influential black men in America.
And that ought to do it for you. We thank you so much for joining us.
And a role model for generations of African-American entrepreneurs to come.
I was one of the first African-American guys to put their name on the credits of a television show as executive producer.
This has been a Don Cornelius production.
He was way ahead of his time in terms of the business of show business. I need to take classes for Don Cornelius.